Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned with us. This is our second conversation for this morning, and it's all about the Belize Sickle Cell Association bringing awareness on sickle cell in Belize. And we have joining us on set Ms. Raquel Romero, who is the founder and president of the Belize Sickle Cell Association, as well as Ms. Carolyn Westby, who's the treasurer at the Belize Sickle Cell Association.
Good morning, ladies.
To both of
Good
you.
morning.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to have you all on set this morning. So, Ms. Romero, let's begin with the association. The Belize Sickle Cell Association, when did this association begin?
It started, I'll say, back in 2015, just going around spreading awareness. It wasn't anything of sort that I had members or I had people involved, but I started off doing my own stuff in PG because I'm originally from Punta Gorda, and I went with Miss Courtney Wedderburn from Channel 7, and she went to PG and did a story on my son, and that's how we got out talking about sickle cell. And from there it went on where different people started reaching out and asked that why don't we form an organization, why don't we create an association to help, because there's a lot of people in Belize that has sickle cell, and I wasn't even aware, because when I found out my son had sickle cell at the age of 1, he was misdiagnosed before. So I was like in a contemplating situation, because one doctor said one thing and another said another. So we did the test and it was sickle cell. So I started to do my own research, but little did I know that so many people in Belize is suffering from sickle cell.
So for those who aren't aware, since you have the information, what is sickle cell and how does it affect the individual?
Sickle cell is a blood disorder, a generic blood disorder. So it has to be both parents, one at SS and one at AS, and your child. Sometimes they say it's fortunate or unfortunately that they would born with it. But like here in Belize, we don't have where they do that sickle cell testing or screening from birth.
Or before.
Or before, yeah. So
Because
Belize doesn't have.
Two people come together, you have to have that screening and provide counseling, because if we know we are going to bring a child with sickle cell, it is up to us, the parents, to decide whether we want to have children, any at all.
So is it like, if you do that pre-screening before you even do everything else, is it then that gives you a better understanding, and it's almost guaranteed like that with this information the child will come with sickle cell?
Yes.
Wow.
Most of the time they come with sickle cell, and if not, they become carriers as well, because the both parents were carriers. So that's why the child has the sickle cell. I remember when my son was first diagnosed with the trait only, we were in the States, and they told him, you know, before you have children, you'll have to make sure that your partner doesn't have the trait. So if you fall in love with somebody and they have the trait and you have the trait, you know, you have to decide.
But that takes some knowing. That takes some medical
knowledge,
advice.
you need to know.
Right. You'll need counseling before
to understand. Help us understand a bit more about how it affects the body. I have a friend that I went to college with. He at least openly spoke about having sickle cell, and at least some of what I saw from him wasn't comforting at all. In terms of how in an instant he could be up and then his health just deteriorate significantly in an instant, and he ends up in the hospital. And like, bro, you were good yesterday on the stage speaking and your environment. What's that? What's causing that?
That is something that, like you said, a lot of people is not aware of.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because sickle cell won't come and tell you, knock on your door and say, hey, tomorrow I'll come and attack you.
It's very sudden.
It's a sudden attack, and the crisis, what we would say pain, is very
pain and
severe.
fatigue.
So is that like the primary reaction that the body would go through? Pain and
Pain
fatigue?
and fatigue.
Because
Pain
the
and
oxygen,
fatigue.
due to the sickle cell, it's shaped like this.
Like a crescent.
Like a crescent.
Okay.
And
So it's not normal.
It's not enough oxygen is not reaching the cells, and so the crescent,
It blocks.
they clump together, and sometimes it causes a blockage, or you have blood clots.
And what cell are we talking about? Not to get technical, but
The blood cells.
The red blood
The
cells.
red blood
cells,
cells, because
yeah.
it's a red blood cell disease. And see here, or not the normal cell.
You can see it on the screen there.
Yeah.
Well, the
Normal
normal
cell.
cell is
Round.
see there, round. But the formation of the sickle cell, you see it changes.
Shape.
And then the shape, it's sickle red blood cell.
So that's to say then that these cells are not
Normal,
functioning cells. So they don't do the things that the normal
blood
functioning cells
Right.
Correct.
would do, right?
Correct.
And so then that leads to certain reactions in the body.
Chronic pain,
Pain.
in the chest area and the
Joints,
joints, the limbs, chronic.
So how has it?
What type of
excruciating
support
pain.
then is given to persons with sickle cell? Is it just like treatment of symptoms, or are there medications that persons could take?
When it comes to that, we have an issue with the health system, because we always have a problem or an issue, I'd say, whenever we go to the hospital. Taking someone with sickle cell in severe pain, sometimes, or if that person's body is already used to the pain, they won't show. They would be sitting right here in front of you and wouldn't
have
show you that reaction
pain,
of a
and you
terrible
wouldn't
pain.
Like
they're
a
going
pain
through.
level
They
9.
can't-
Yeah.
they wouldn't. And I went through it with my son, and when we went to the emergency, the doctor looked at him and said, "You're not showing me a facial expression that you're in pain, so we cannot give you any
Right.
medication.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So you need to go home." So I
That is
took back
true.
my son home and had to rush him back again the night to be admitted on IV and oxygen, because they need the IV and they need,
they
the,
need the
oxygen
oxygen.
to help elevate the sickle cell.
So talk a bit about your experiences then with your children in terms of how you've seen it affect their lives and affect them personally.
I have the trait only, and I have severe pain as well. My daughter has the beta thalassemia, and that's a different type of sickle cell, because there are different types of sickle cell. There are over 12 types, but you have 3 main ones. We have it there. But my daughter has a beta thalassemia, and she has very, very excruciating pain. About a month and a half, we went to call Hushna, and they told her nothing was wrong with her. Nothing wrong with you. Nothing. And you have the shortness of breath, because that is one of the things. You're not getting the oxygen. And so you have this shortness of breath. The pain is mostly concentrated. We were sitting down having a conversation.
Like normal.
And like normal, and all of a sudden, Mommy, I'm having a pain. And no matter what we tried that night, he said, I can't breathe. And so we had to go to the emergency. But normally what they should do is to put you on oxygen in the first instance, and then provide the pain
and the pain medication.
medication in the IV, and that will help. And you know, it usually helps, and then you're good to go
After,
again.
Yeah.
So what has your experience been like with your child?
I'd say I have some really, really bad experience. He's 16 years old, but while he was going to primary school, he has been in the hospital most of his time going to primary school, and it's like weeks we're in the hospital, sometimes a month. Unfortunately, Belize doesn't have an hematologist, which is the specialist for sickle cell. So we have to travel to Mexico, Merida. And not everyone is fortunate to find that money to go to Mexico to get treatment. We've been going there for the past 5 years, and I've seen a huge change in his reaction to his sickle cell. Like, he hasn't been in a hospital for some time.
There's a medication that he takes?
Yeah, they've prescribed hydroxyurea. That's a sickle cell. Well, it's not really for sickle cell, but they use it on sickle cell. It's a cancer patient medication that they use on sickle cell.
That's like for pain?
It helps elevate the pain that and less crisis that you have to be in the hospital, which I found very helpful in my son. I know a lot of people says it doesn't work for them, but what works for one may not work for another. So like we say, there's different type of sickle cell that some medication may work and some may not.
What works for my daughter is the codeine.
Okay.
Codeine.
I've heard of that.
That helps. And the body must always be hydrated.
Hydrated, yeah.
You have to keep your body hydrated, because once you're not getting enough fluid inside, that's when the pains start up and you have a crisis situation.
What type of support have you ladies been able to garner for the association, and just by having the association to provide support for other persons who might be affected by sickle cell?
We don't even have an office to speak. I won't be ashamed of saying that. I'm trying. We have a page on Facebook, and we try to relay whatever information we get. We try to pass it on. We try to share. We even have a support group on WhatsApp that, you know, we try to get everyone involved and see how
we share our experiences when we're having pains, and so what medication you take, what I take, and then we try to see how we can help one another by just communicating. But what we want to do is, you know, it's a young organization. We're starting over, as a matter of fact, and we want to get the word out there, because I notice when they have these health fairs, if they could invite us, or we could invite ourselves, and we can go there and have these pamphlets to educate people as to what sickle cell is.
I think it's also important, even if you're not able to garner the type of resources that you'd need at this time, a support system for persons, just a community, as Paul said. I mean, you ladies, you have family members who are really struggling with this disease, and you need that type of support as well. I think we oftentimes forget how important support is needed for caregivers. That is so essential, because there's a mental load that you all have to carry as well, when you have to ensure that you get your loved ones to the hospital. You have to find the money for their medication. I don't know how expensive the medication might be, to source experts to ensure that your loved one gets the relief that they need, especially when it's not available here in Belize. Is this something that is important for support and a community to exist for you guys?
Yes, indeed. Because I will tell you, I, as a mother, you know, and you watch your child suffering, and in particularly the ladies who are pregnant, it is very complex. It's a very complicated situation, and so hence, if you know that you have we are carriers and we don't have a child, because when you watch them suffering and sometimes it's like near-death situation. My daughter has two children. The first pregnancy was bad, and the second one, she had 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And so, you know, the doctor said, you know what, tie off for you. You're not coming back here. So, you know, you do need that community
Support.
of support.
At what age did you all notice a change in your children, or that there is something off here that needs to be looked at? At what age in the child's development?
For mine, I saw like at almost 2 months old.
2 months old. What did you notice?
He had swollen stomach. All these were like that. The feet, the knees,
Swollen.
the eyes were like swollen, and like the discomfort that I used to think it was just a normal baby crying because the belly is hurting,
and that's hard to
something
detect the
bit him, and you know, so we were back and forth at the hospital, back and forth until when the first diagnosis said he was diagnosed with rheumatoid fever, which isn't anything close to sickle cell, beside the joint pain. They placed him on medication, and the doctor said he would have to take this medication until he's 21.
Oy.
We continued the medication, and the complications were still there. If you're taking a medication, the complication should have left. It
Some
should
type
have
of relief
been.
they should experience, yes.
But we were still going back to the hospital for the same reason we were there the first time. I'm glad to say a Nigerian doctor I met at the hospital when I took him to the emergency, and he only gave a look at him and listened to what I had to say, and he said, your son has sickle cell. That's sickle cell he has.
It's an African, remember, disease as well.
And that proved to be the
And
case.
yes, and he sent us from PG to Belize City at Medical Associate to do a test, and he said, I'm 100% sure you're going to get back this test that he's full-blown sickle cell.
So said,
and
so
so
done.
said, so done. Yeah.
So
My daughter,
yours, correct.
she when I found out she had the sickle cell, she was 14 years old, because
14.
yes, it was delayed puberty, and she was doing a running race. It was sports day, and they were
very
doing
active.
Right, marathon. And that's the thing with sickle cell, you can't be too active.
That's the
You
other
cannot
thing
be
I
too
remember with my
active.
friend.
And so she was running the marathon, and she collapsed right at the lane where I live. And so they brought her home and said, oh, she was running and she fainted. And I took her to the hospital. It was the old Belize City hospital, and they kept her in. And then that's when we knew she had sickle cell.
I would imagine that in the most extreme cases, as parents, you would have had to deal with thoughts or conversations about life and death.
My son was only 8 years old when he was in the hospital, and he asked God to take him. He said, because I cannot help him, and the nurses and doctors cannot help him due to the extreme pain of the pain he was going through. But we all prayed together, and you know, my family was a praying family there, so he got over it, thank God. He's still here. Doctor gave him the age of 15 to live.
Wow.
But he's 16, so I know he still has long more years to go.
What type of support do you ladies need in specific when we talk resources? If there's anything that you can think of from the association's perspective, what type of support are you needing?
Well, first, we really need help in getting Ministry of Health to be involved, because if we would have everyone here, each one would say their issues they have at hospital, going to the hospital for medication, or for even getting an IV and some oxygen just to help elevate the crisis, and so that they can be or feel better.
So perhaps
I think we have to
medical institutions placing more priority
right,
on accepting emergency cases with persons with sickle cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like how you have diabetes and high blood pressure and cancer and HIV and all of those things, sickle cell needs to go there.
Yeah.
And so we highlight all of those other illnesses, and we also need to highlight sickle cell. You're looking at a person and you don't see anything, but it is a hidden disability.
So
it's there.
It comes with awareness, and this is why this is important, because while you may not have all the expertise within a medical facility, if the workers in that facility are aware, because they're informed and educated through these types of conversations, then they could pick up on things on the onset, right? So then they could understand that this may well be an emergency situation, and let's not just push this family aside simply because we don't know, or at least got no expression. It's the awareness and the information and the knowledge that bridges that gap.
Because when my daughter was pregnant with her last child, he's now 12 years old, and she was referred to the Harris Clinic at Carl Hushner, and she said, I have this back pain, and the doctor said, well, pregnancy, the back pain. I said, no, this is not that kind of back pain. We're talking here beta thalassemia. You know what he said? What's that? What is that? That's what he said to me. What is that?
Yeah. Okay, so this, talk a bit then about what's your message, what's your general message here today for viewers?
I want to ask the public in a whole, countrywide, just give us the support. Lend us the support by even sharing comforting words to, like what Sabrina said about supporting caregivers who have to care for children or even adults with sickle cell. You know, it's very much needed. We want to see how we can help, how we, the caregivers, can also help others.
Also, we have here, maybe you can give them the phone number and the link, because like I said, we're a young association, and if we can get people to call us and share with us, then together we can have a sound association, and then get involved, meet with the Minister of Health, meet with health personnel, and share and have us accepted as all the other illnesses that are out there, and know that yes, I might not look like I'm in pain, but I'm in pain. You get so used to the pain, you know, and so you will not show it. You will not show it. And so we need that kind of support.
All right.
So we want to get the word out there. We can share the link.
So finally, how do people reach out? How do people contact?
I have myself as the founder and the president. My phone number is 634-0749. We have a WhatsApp support group, like I mentioned earlier. I try to add everyone who get in contact with me so that, you know, we can support each other via WhatsApp. We want to plan something for next year, because right now everything is just starting. We're just, you know,
getting word out
by mouth to mouth, or through texting, messaging and stuff like that. Or if I meet someone, I would exchange my number and I say, hey, you can send me a message and I'll add you to the WhatsApp group for sickle cell, and you guys can share whatever you want to share, your experiences, how you feel, what are your thoughts, how you can help someone who maybe is going through something but it's kind of different from what you're going through, and stuff like that.
Good. So that's the phone number.
Yes, and so we can also, what we can start doing is to attend these health fairs, or we can have a, you know, one Saturday we go out to the parking lot or something and just hand out flyers and educate people as to what exactly sickle cell is.
Excellent. So,
you know,
all right, good.
My number,
yes,
and they
go
can,
ahead, provide
it's my number is 605-9828. I'm the treasurer of the association.
Excellent. All right, well, ladies, we want to thank you so much for coming on set and having this important conversation. This is definitely the start of a great movement. I can see that. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
All right, we take another quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, the conversation switches into bringing culture to the stage with Makobi.